The hits keep on coming. Microsoft's got more incentives, Sony's got more anger, and well, we've got some quotes to dig apart. Name a more iconic duo than Sony and Call of Duty, because that is what they've latched onto with their arms to say, Microsoft, no, you cannot buy Activision because we want the Call of Duties to remain free, like a free-range organic Call of Duty or something like that. Either way, that is what the whole Activision acquisition by Microsoft is focused on, is Call of Duty, and that's what we're talking about here more, and we've got data and we've got details, and so let's just dive in. First off, Microsoft has officially said, fine, we'll put Call of Duty on PlayStation for 10 years. Now, that's an interesting timeline, and not something I suggest that Microsoft potentially just pulled out of a hat. Now, granted, in the back of my mind, I'm sitting here thinking Microsoft probably could have offered 100 years, and Sony still wouldn't be on board with this. They're fundamentally against the acquisition, and I don't think it's necessarily the timeline for exclusivity or anything else on the horizon is actually going to change that. What I think Microsoft should, and potentially is doing, is saying, look, Sony has made the argument that, look, you can't build another shooter like Call of Duty. It just can't happen. And while you can't necessarily say that's completely true, because we've seen markets change, and you can have a bad title come out or several in a row and that really sink a franchise. With a 10-year horizon, Microsoft could at least make the arguments like, look, we're giving Sony tons of runway to be able to go build their own exclusive shooter if they really wanted to. If they're really serious about this, they would have the capacity to go do that, and 10 years is enough time to bring something like that to market. And Microsoft is also saying that even after 10 years, they're not snatching it back away for an exclusive launch or anything like that. It's going to be available. And again, as we've mentioned time and time again, at least for the foreseeable future, Microsoft will continue to support it across myriad of platforms, because they've got to pay back that $70 billion that they're basically borrowing from themselves to buy this acquisition. So they need the cash flow coming in. So all that being aside, Microsoft is officially saying 10 years, we'll take it or leave it. And we'll see. That is what is rumored and has come out from the New York Times, looking into basically tech spotlights lately that have been under antitrust regulation, and Microsoft has dodged it for the most part, although we're starting to hear rumors that they're seeing it in other places. But that's likely what they're going to be offering in the EU, when it surprised me in the UK, and more than likely in the US. The question is, again, is that enough to satisfy the committees that are going to look at this and say, yeah, well, maybe, I don't know. We don't know. Other information that has come out. Now, there's just tons of court documents on Microsoft.com, which I'll link to in the description. Did a good job of digging through, and they found one quote that I found in particular funny, because Sony talks about how many PlayStation Plus users they have and how it's a great platform, and then you get into the courts and they're like, actually, it kind of sucks. And so not quite in that language, but they do talk about, hey, like, Game Pass is a better product. And so hilariously, Microsoft offers some tips and tricks for improving the PlayStation Plus product and make more people subscribe to it. Microsoft goes on to say, further, even if Microsoft succeeds in growing Game Pass with the addition of Call of Duty, the CMA would also have to satisfy itself that Sony could not respond through investments or improvements in its service. It's clear that Sony has a range of options to maintain or improve the competitiveness or the competitive position of PlayStation Plus. At a minimum, Sony could go and include first and third-party releases in PlayStation Plus on the day and date Microsoft loves to chant, releases. Sony first-party exclusives not currently included in PlayStation Plus include prominent titles such as The Last of Us and God of War, Spider-Man, and the Final Fantasy remake. Microsoft has basically come out and saying, Sony, if you want to grow your platform, you want to grow your subscription service like you say you do, then why don't you put your biggest titles into the product? You know, really, like, if you're going to go all in, go all in. Don't just say you're launching this and just trying to catch some cash on the side. You know, you got to do the thing. And it's pretty clear from what we've seen from Sony, they're not willing to do that thing, which is put their big releases in there because they want to capture money up front for the game sales and then on the PlayStation Plus side. And so there you go. Microsoft, I just love it when they have to point out the obvious to Sony. It's even better so when they write it down in the comments of court documents. So there you go. We'll see if Call of Duty 10 years on PlayStation is enough to get the regulatory bodies to kind of pull back. Maybe, maybe not. We'll see what happens with the FTC here. Hopefully we'll be hearing about that soon. And as always, make sure to keep it subscribed here, because the only BS on this channel is me.